Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition. Hello, Tracy. How are you doing?
Doing great, Chris. How are you?
Wonderful. Hello, Crystal. Gary Spikes. Hopefully, everybody had a good Christmas. Hello, Desire White. Gene Hudson. So, Tracy, what do we got going on this evening?
Well, we got a guy on here named Philip Gibson on his Facebook page. He calls himself the Paranormal Conversationalist. So this ought to be a good one. He's out of Elkhart, Indiana.
Oh, my old stopping grounds. I didn't know he was from Indiana.
Yeah. He's actually a former co-founder of Heart City Paranormal. Earlier this year, looks like they disbanded, but he's still on his own out there trying to communicate by himself. And sounds like a pretty interesting guy. I've been kind of following him on Facebook for a while now, and he's got some good stuff out there. So
interesting. Hello, Trista. Welcome, everybody. Let's bring him in. Philip, come on down. How you doing there, kind sir?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hello.
Thanks for having me on, man. It's an honor.
Yeah, absolutely. So, whoa, hit a wrong button there.
Woo.
I know. I didn't need my trifocus there for a minute. So
Yeah.
introduce yourself. Tell us all about you.
Okay, well, my name is Phil Gibson. I'm from Elkhart, Indiana. Um, I've well, I've obviously I love the paranormal. I'm a paranormal investigator as well as an astrophotographer. So um, I started.
Astrophotographer.
Yep. I do some astrophotography. That's kind of an endeavor that I just kind of started on within the past maybe year. It's
Interesting.
it's kind of like when you first start out with investigating the paranormal. You got to build your you got to get your equipment together. You got to kind of get your little stash of equipment so you can get out and investigate it. I think astrophotography makes it a little bit more expensive than the paranormal with the lenses and the cameras and all the and the star trackers and stuff like that. So yeah, that's something I've started doing over the past, like I said, about almost the past year. Um, I kind of it kind of helps me, it's kind of changes the pace a little bit when it comes to like my hobbies and my interests. Um, so it's a lot of fun and really rewarding, especially once you get out there and being a big fan of the universe and space and and the cosmos, just to see your camera to be able to take a picture with a lens of something that's 1,200 light years away and then send it through the processing of Photoshop or something like that, just to see how the images that you can capture just with a pretty simple lens, and a DSLR camera. And you know it's a very it's definitely it's a lot different than paranormal investigating, which is
Yeah.
I have a strong passion for as well. Which brings me back. I got interested in the paranormal back in probably the early '80s, when with the movie Poltergeist. um, I remember renting it and watching it and kind of being really it kind of got me interested, kind of got the juices flowing a little bit.
There
and
it is.
then um, and then I would say my interest in investigating the paranormal started back in around 2006, 2007, as a lot of people did, watching ghost hunters on TV,
Right.
the original ghost hunters, obviously. And one episode in particular that really just made me go, man, I really want to do this. Um, was the season two of the of Ghost Hunters, the St. Augustine Lighthouse episode.
Yeah,
That
when they were
you know,
plumbers.
yeah, yeah. And watching that episode, just when I saw that thing leaning, that apparition leaning over the railing and looking down, and then zooming up the 5 flights of stairs in a matter of
I
seconds,
remember that.
and then
Yeah.
looking, I was like, man, I want to do this, and that was 2006, 2007. I owe a lot of my inspiration, for wanting to investigate to, obviously, Jason Halls and those guys. Um, and then I didn't really get the wheels rolling until 2017, when a friend of mine, a longtime friend of mine, and we're still friends, Sean Landers and his wife Samantha. We were sitting around, and they had a team um, before we created Heart City Paranormal, but it was kind of, it wasn't really serious. I mean, I guess it was serious, but they had people on their team that really weren't as serious as they would have liked.
Yeah.
And so we sit down one day, and we were like, man, why don't we start our own team, man? And we're like, yeah. And they said, well, let's think of a name, and we kind of put our heads together and came with Heart City Paranormal, which it's kind of a play on Elkhart, Elkhart, Indiana.
Yeah.
Heart City,
Right.
we're known as the Heart City, and like you said, it's kind of your stomping ground of Indiana. So it's so I'm sure you're familiar with Elkhart.
Right.
Um, so we called ourselves Heart City Paranormal. We became a team in the summer of 2017, and we continued on until early this year. I kind of got into a funk, I guess you can say, where I was kind of burnt out. I was driving everywhere. I was just, just driving to and fro, and I just got kind of burnt out on the whole thing. Social media kind of burnt me out too, with all this crazy drama going on between, just it's yeah, it kind of burnt me out a little bit, and I decided to take a break, and I didn't expect them to take a break with me if they didn't want to, and so he contacted me and told me that he was gonna create another team. And I was like, hey man, that's fine, and I didn't know at the time how long I was going to take a break for, but it ended up being
Yeah.
quicker, a lot quicker of a break than I was anticipating. And I kind of, when he told me that he was creating a team, I was like, hey man, that's great, man, go ahead, So, and then once he created a team, I just came out and decided to kind of tackle this on a solo basis. And I'm still doing it, getting prepared for stuff in 2024 as we speak.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
I
fine.
know. I know exactly what you're saying. I'm a member of that paranormal T.H.A.T. I don't know why I say that every time I say that, but it was four of us that got together, and my wife is the camera person for us. And we did a hunt about 3 months ago, and before that, it was probably 8 months before that. And
Oh
it's
yeah,
just slowly those other people just kind of died out of it. Kind of didn't, kids and all that stuff. So I get it to an
yeah,
extent. So my wife and I pretty much the last couple of years been doing it on our own.
yeah.
But I'm kind of like you. I'm looking to maybe branch out just in this area and just me and her and try to find a couple people in a couple hour radius.
Yeah, um yeah, with me, it's just we were doing about one investigation a month. I'm a big evidence guy. I'm a big data guy. I'm not the type of guy that will go to 20 different investigations and just to go to them and just have you know uh, hard drives full of audio just sitting there not being reviewed. I
Yeah.
I'm the type of person that wants to do an investigation, give that location its due diligence, and go through the audio, go through the video, go through all the data before um, before getting on to the next investigation.
Yeah.
Um, and I think we decided to do it. I think about a month is a good time to, like, when you're not pressured to get through all the video and audio. It's plenty of time to do it. And that's why we chose to do one investigation a month. Sometimes it didn't work like that. And you ended up having one every couple weeks. If something came up when a friend asked you to, invite you to an
Yeah.
investigation. You know, um, so but I'm a big audio guy. I love doing a lot of EVP work, and so it's plenty of time to a month. Once a month is I think gives us plenty of time to give the location its due diligence and
Yeah.
review the audio. Yeah.
I
Well,
agree.
before you know it, if you're not careful, that evidence can stack up on you and snowball.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, the audio and video, one investigation, you can have 14 to 20 something hours of just evidence just
Yeah.
off one investigation. So
You got that
depends on
right.
how many camcorders and audio recorders you got going. Multiply that times two or three, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can have 40 to 60 hours worth just on one investigation. So yeah,
Abs-
that's a lot.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. I mean, just back in March, we investigated the Monroe House and down in Hartford City, and I had a lot of I've always had a lot of activity in that downstairs. I don't know if you guys have been to the Monroe House before,
No.
Hartford City.
No.
Um, very, very, very active location. Um, very unique location. Very mysterious. Um, in the downstairs kitchen, I've caught some very bizarre data, very bizarre evidence, and it usually only happens when when nobody's in the actual room itself. If you Usually, if you leave a recorder running in the kitchen and walk away, um, is when stuff starts really rolling. Yeah, back in 2021, We just came from Randolph, me and Sean, my old teammate, and still a good friend of mine. We went to Randolph Asylum on um, would have been August August 1st, 2020, or August 31st, or August 30th or 31st, 2021. We
Mhm.
went to Randolph Asylum, left Randolph, and went straight to the Monroe house, and it was just me and him. And as soon as we got there, we kind of sit around and talked a little bit, and I said, "Well, I'm gonna go and grab my stuff, bring it in." And I put the box on the table, and if you're at the Monroe house, you're standing there, and they have a big TV for if you want to review your evidence, you can plug everything up to the TV, and then to your right there's a kitchen, and the door was open, and I said, well, I'm gonna go and grab my stuff and bring it in. We'll start putting the cameras on the tripods and stuff like that. So I put the box up on the table, and next thing you know, I hear what sounded like this the door to the right across the kitchen, like somebody was grabbing the doorknob and literally just trying to get out, like bam, like, and you can hear it just wham, 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 wham. And I stopped. I'm like, what the fuck? And I looked over and I'm like, you hear this? Yeah, went in there, grabbed my recorder, grabbed my Zoom recorder, ran straight to the kitchen, tried to do an EVP session. Didn't catch anything. But then, I said, well, I'm gonna go ahead and start. We continue doing our thing and put our cameras on tripods. And I said, well, I'm gonna go and run, a couple of these cameras upstairs. And then Sean was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and put this recorder, down by that door. I said, good idea, great idea. And he was going to slide it up underneath the door completely, but it wouldn't. It was there wasn't enough clearance in between the door and the floor, so he just kind of leaned it up, kind of put the speaker right kind of by that little crack in the bottom of the door. And we went upstairs and did our thing. And next, we did our investigation, went home. Tuesday, I'm out, walking my dog, and he calls me. He said, "Hey, P Dog," and that's what he calls me, P Dog.
Hmm.
He said, "Man, I got something, man." He said, "You need to hear this, man." I said, "What?" He said, "Remember that recorder I stuck down by the door?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, I caught a baby crying, man." I said, "Are you sure it was? Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah." He said, "There's no mistake in this, Phil. You need to hear it." So he sent me the audio, and my jaw just absolutely dropped and hit the floor. It was about 20-second clip of this baby, and we were upstairs about 20 minutes after he put the recorder on the floor and went upstairs. About 20 minutes later is when he caught it, and it started off a baby kind of, not just fussing,
Mhm.
and then he started cooing for about 10 seconds, and then he let out another little fuss at the end. But in between that first fuss and the cooing, you can hear a woman's voice saying something like, "Hi, little baby," or something like, "Hey, baby," did something about daddy, something your daddy, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it said, but my jaw just hit the floor, and I sent the audio to um, the owners of the house, and literally her jaw was like, she was like, "Oh my gosh." She said Eddie is not going to want to go in this house by himself anymore to fix, to do repairs. And it's the most bizarre thing, and that's why, um, when I get back to the reason why I started talking about this for is just, about going through audio and having audio stack up. I left that recorder going. I went back in would have been it was about the middle of this year, and I left the recorder running in the kitchen for 20. I had it for 2 days. Left it for 26 hours of total audio, and I'm still not. I still haven't went through it all yet. So
Yeah,
that's still sitting there, just like stewing. Who knows what's on there. So
Interesting.
yeah.
understood. Understood. So you're saying 2007 is kind of when after that episode that you watched, and so you had a break there between 2007 and then whenever you started up Heart Paranormal. What was the first investigation you did as where you would consider yourself a paranormal investigator?
A place called Graceland Cemetery here in
Oh,
Elkhart.
did you
Very,
get
very.
anything?
Yeah, I caught my very first EVP there, and I can't remember what it said. I can't remember exactly what it said, but I was like, catching that first EVP, I was just like, whoa, Sean, dude, I caught an EVP, man, and I was so excited, man. Um, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't nothing too crazy. I mean, we caught a couple, I was very novice then, and I was, but I caught what I thought could have been EVPs, but it was also outdoors, so there could have been somebody talking. So my tagging skills wasn't the greatest then, but you could tell, a a whisper right next to your recorder
Yeah,
compared to a person, talking loud down the street. As you do it, do it often, you get that, you kind of just get the practice in, and what the difference. And but when I caught that first EVP at Gracelawn Cemetery, which was my first investigation,
yeah,
I was just like so excited, man. I was like, "Shot! I caught an EVP, man! Listen to this!" And still to this day, man, I get so excited, man, catching those good Class A EVPs, those really clear EVPs with vocal tone, and I just still get excited like it was my, the first time,
yeah.
the first EVP. And I told myself if I ever get to a point where I do not get excited about it anymore, I'm gonna hang the recorder up, hang the cameras up, and just quit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my first,
that hasn't
my,
happened yet though.
yeah, my first hunt was in a cemetery as well, and the same exact thing, but we weren't really getting much other than on a spirit box. It was all we had was a spirit box and an EMF meter. That was it. And we were getting a little bit here and there, and then we're doing a Facebook Live. And as soon as we went off the live, I looked down. We had a ball sitting there right in front of the grave of this young girl here near Alton, Illinois,
Wow.
and
Mhm.
that ball rolled. I got me
Awesome.
hooked. You know what I mean? I was like, "Holy cow!" And that was the first one I'd been on, and there was no realistic explanation for it. There was no wind. We're back. It's not really an open area. It sat there in the same spot for an hour and a half of a live, and then as soon as it went off, the ball rolled. Uh,
Well, yeah, I think it's probably grass too, so it's not, it's
yeah,
not like this floor where has like a nice smooth surface roll of it's grass,
yeah.
and for it to move, it might be kind of make it a little tougher.
I mean, I went through the whole debunking thing in my head, talking to the other people we were with, and I was like, "What the heck?" But it got me hooked, so I'm glad. I'm glad. Uh, what'd you do on your first hunt, Chris?
It was cemeteries and houses.
Yeah.
So you got to remember though, paranormal is always around, especially with my grandfather, right?
Yep.
Especially when he passed. So he was always doing stuff around my grandmother when he passed with crucifixes and moving objects and lights and so forth. So,
Wow.
and I was a teenager at the time, so it just snowballed from there. Philip? What's some of your go-to equipment that you like using on investigations?
Um, I never. I mean, when I first started out, we had the rim pods um and the I never owned a K2. Was more just rim pods at first. Rim pods. The millimeters, and then obviously my cameras and recorders. I became more as the years went on. I became more of a what people call a vanilla type of investigator, boring investigator, because I love my go to is my Zoom recorder, my H4n, my phone recorder, which I've had a lot of I have a Galaxy phone, that I've had a lot of success with when it comes to EVPs. And my Zoom recorder, my phone recorder, you know, certain cameras, body cameras, or a little X camera I carry around with me at a location, and a SB11 spirit box. That is I could conduct an entire investigation on just those pieces of equipment, and that's usually what I use. Um, Occasionally, I use a EDI plus or something like that to get some readings when it comes to EMF or something like that. But yeah, my go-to is my Zoom H4Ns, my phone recorder, and the my cameras, and then the SB11 Spirit Box.
So something we ask everybody is, and I think I already know what your thoughts are. Is a SLS? You ever use one, and what are your thoughts on that?
I, I I did. I have used one. I actually bought a really generic one. It was a one to connect. Um, the Xbox Connect ones, and we used it for maybe 6 months, and I I think I stopped using it because it just kept screwing up. It kept screwing up on me, and I was tired of messing with it. Um, as far as what I think of it, I don't know. I just don't see how. I guess as I got more experienced um, in the field, I guess I have a hard time seeing how it could pick up ghosts. Um, so that kind of chased me away from it as well. It's just a personal thing to me. I just don't
Yeah,
understand. I just don't see how it could pick up a spirit. Um, you know, I don't know. I just don't see. And being they're made usually for standing still. People move them around a lot, and it catches fence. I've noticed it catches lamp stands and forms into into a person, into a stick figure, or a
yeah,
anything that has like a straight line, straight down, and it automatically just creates a stick figure out of it. So I don't know. I personally, I just I don't see how it would be able to capture a spirit. But it's one of those devices where I don't like crack people over the head and say, "Why you use that for, man? You're just wasting your time." Not like
yeah. I think you really
not
have
like a
to.
phone app or something like that, huh?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
really have to study. I think you have to really have to study it. You really have to know what you're seeing, and Chris and I have talked before about it too. I think obviously there are some situations where you're like, there's no way that could be right there. But like you said, there are many situations where you're like, yeah, that's most likely not anything. But there are a few that I've noticed just a few times where you're like, yeah, there's no electric behind that wall. There's no image. It's just a plain wall with nothing on it. That's when I have a hard time debunking it. But for the most part, a lot of it can be debunked. What about you, Chris?
No, I totally agree. Some of the ones I've seen, like, Philip is saying, it takes an object, a straight line, and it develops a stick figure. Yeah. You spend a lot of time debunking things instead of looking at things. Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, I have had, like, I won't lie, I have had experiences with it that piqued my interest, because I also captured things, captured figures in areas where there wasn't anything that it could confuse it with, but also catching EVPs as well
Yeah.
at the same time. I mean, it could be a coincidence,
Yeah.
that I'm just catching an EVP at that same time. But
No, no, cool, man. We're just
so
trying to figure out. We always ask everybody that question about it. So
yeah, so I'm not, yeah, so I've had interesting experiences with it. I can't, but as far I don't use them anymore. No, I mean I use it for maybe 6 months, and it's still sitting in my storage unit right now.
so take us from when you were a novice and to the scariest place you've gone to. Why was it so scary? What happened and where was it?
The scariest place,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
uh, I wouldn't call it scary. I mean, there was times that where I was like really startled at a particular location, and with a particular event that happened. I wouldn't call it scared.
Yeah.
Um, there was like I've been startled, like really startled, probably twice, and it once was at a place called the Griffin Blind Tiger. It was an old speakeasy,
Oh,
a Ma brand speakeasy in Hartford City, which Hartford City is just a haunted town in general. Everything is haunted in that town, which includes the Monroe House, which includes the old Blackford County Jail, which includes, the Speakeasy, and then the old Ma Brand bar and stuff like that. There's a lot. It's a very haunted town, but I would say either the Griffin Blind Tiger was the one time I was really, really startled. Or at the Bristol Opera House or the Elkhart Civic Theater in Bristol, Indiana. That's probably the other place where I was, where it made me like, where for a split second it made me want to like run, like, oh, it made me jump, where I was like literally took a few steps and I stopped. I was like, nope, this is not what I don't do that. I gotta stand my ground, and no, I don't run as an investigator. I need to,
Hmm.
stay here. The Griffin Blind Tiger I was in the basement. It was just me and Sean, nobody else in the building, and I felt somebody walk up. Sean was in front of me, and we were in a pitch black room. It was not the main part of the basement. There was a room off to the right, and Sean was facing me, and I was standing there, and I felt something walk up behind me, grab my shirt, and yank on it quite hard, actually. And that's not what startled me. It's what happened about 20 seconds later. Um, I said, was that you that grabbed my shirt? If that was you, can you do something else to let me know here? Can you say something? And the next thing you know, I heard this super loud, disembodied voice. I'm in the basement,
Yeah.
and a super loud, disembodied voice answering my question said, "No!" And you could feel the reverberation, the reverberation from his voice, from the voice. You could feel it. And immediately I said, "Sean," I said, "Holy shit, maybe jump." I was like, "Holy crap."
Yeah.
I said, "Dude," I said, "Man, here, you need to go upstairs and make sure that wasn't anybody outside, because," and I gave him my walkie-talkie and had him go upstairs. And I said, "I want you to walk around the building, scream." This was 1:30 in the morning. I said, "I want you to scream as loud as you can, man, and I want to make sure that that
Yeah.
voice was not coming from outside." And he took his recorder upstairs, or took his walkie-talkie upstairs, and I said, "Are you outside?" He said, "Yep." I said, "All right, walk down the main part of the building." And I'm listening, listening, listening. Didn't hear a thing.
Yeah.
I said, "Did you say?" He said, "Man," I said, "Did you scream?" He's like, "Man, I'm screaming so loud, man. There's this guy in his car down here that thinks I'm crazy."
Mhm.
So I said, "All right, I want you to walk down the front of the building as well." You couldn't walk down the other. You can only walk around three parts of the building, because it was a building that was connected to another building, which was completely. It was locked up. It belonged actually to that person. It was a staircase that went upstairs to the guy's apartment. So he walked around the back part of the bar, down the main part, and then out in the front, screaming as
Yeah.
loud as he could. I couldn't hear him at all. So I said, "Okay, I want you to come inside, and I want you to walk down the bar area and scream as loud as you can." And so he walked through the bar, screaming, screaming, and I could hear him. I can hear him pretty well. But it was like when you hear when you're in a room and you hear somebody talking from another room. It's kind of muted.
Right.
Hmm.
That's what he sounded like walking upstairs. This was, I mean, it was loud, and it made me jump. Yeah, it was a clear, disembodied voice that happened right in the same room, that we were in, and it was clear as day, loud, super loud, and it felt, you could
Yeah.
hear the treble in his voice and everything. Then, like I said, the next one was the Bristol Opera House, and I won't, if you guys, if you have time, I could talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Let's know.
we were in the costume room. I'll kind of make it brief. We were in the costume room. It was me and Samantha, and Sean was in the control booth around down outside the booth and to the left. He was just sitting there, doing EVP work. And I said, "Okay." I said, "If there's anybody up here, the person that's in control of the room, um, in control of the costume closet, can you, we're about ready to go downstairs and do a play. I don't know what to wear. Could you help me pick out something to wear? I can't. Do you want me to wear a suit? Do you want me to wear, whatever?" I said, "And while you're at it, can you, tell me what color would look good on this? What color clothing do you want me to pick? Should I grab?" And I had my Zoom recorder on my ear. I had these headphones on, connected to my Zoom recorder, so I was listening to live EVP at the time. And then next thing you know, I felt this breath of like this rush of wind hit my recorder, and a woman saying "purple,"
Hmm.
and I was like, "Whoa! Oh my god!" It startled me because I was in a pitch black room in a very silent, like, gold, like a gold mine for EVPs. I mean, it's so quiet in there. It's like all the clothes are like it kind of pads the room, so it makes it really
Yeah.
quiet. And to hear that breath come across, and you can hear the in the recorder, and a woman saying purple. And I said, Sam, I said, are you running audio? And I said, did you say anything? And she said, I didn't say a word. I said, well, real quick, let me review your audio to make sure, to verify, to make sure it wasn't not you saying,
Yeah.
purple. And I went through her audio, and she was completely silent. I didn't hear anything, anything. And it was super loud on my recorder. She was 10 feet away, not even 10 feet away from me.
Yeah.
I didn't hear nothing on her recorder, but it was like super, super loud on my recorder, saying it was a woman saying purple, and it responded to to a question I asked about what color of clothing should we get, and that startled me. But as far as scary, I haven't been scared
Yeah.
at a location. Now the most haunted location I've ever been to is a Monroe House, hands down, no doubt about it. The Monroe House is just
Well, what happens there?
that's where I caught the baby crying.
Well, yeah.
EVP. Oh man. Very weird conversations in the kitchen, whispering to each other, saying, she had the little bastard, and rip off his face, and the earth can't hear us. I heard a conversation in the kitchen, of two people whispering to each other, saying he was terrible. You're terrible. You're a terrible person.
Man.
And then he responded back with, "Don't worry, the Earth can't hear us." So it's EVPs like that that take at the Monroe House, getting rocks, getting pebbles thrown at us,
Man.
catching disembodied voices, you know, catching residual EVPs. In 2018, I caught an EVP of a woman saying "running" in the blue room, running. What does that
Mm.
mean? And then a year later catching the same EVP in the kitchen, but obviously it was much quieter because it was I
Yeah.
caught the same woman saying running, so I'm wondering it was right around the corner from each other. So it makes sense that if it was originating from the blue room, much louder, I can understand why it'd be much quieter in the kitchen
Yeah.
because it was further away from us. So I thought it's things like that, getting scratched, and my buddy got scratched, numerous times in the basement.
Hmm.
Um, Really bizarre EVPs, poltergeist activities, shit move, flat, balls rolling across the floor on their own.
Yeah. I don't know
A
about you,
wall,
Grizzly. I get scratched, I'm leaving.
Yeah, what do you
you know,
think, Philip, when they scratch you? What do you think about when that happens?
I've never been personally scratched. I've never been scratched, or I've only been touched on my arm, and been had my shirt yanked a few times. Uh, I mean, most people, a lot of people jump the gun and say it's demonic. I'm not wanting to do that. I think it's maybe they could be an angry spirit. They could be, but they're maybe are just trying to get your attention. And the one thing that they know that will probably get your attention is give them a good little scratch. Like I said, I've never been personally scratched, but my friend Sean used to get it all the time. I'd be standing there right beside of him. He's like, "Oh man, whoo!" And I'm watching this. I'm watching it the whole time. I can see what he's doing, and I can just see three, you know, three little or two or three, one or two or three or whatever, right down his forearm. And so I don't know. I think it could be done. I mean, I guess it could be done from an angry spirit, or it could be done just to get your attention. I guess when it's not really. I mean, you got to think we go into these locations. They feel it's still their house, or
Yeah.
that they, we're barging in there, and and taking up their space. It's understandable why some spirits might get a little upset, about us being there. So as
Yeah.
far as scratching, yeah, I mean, I've never been scratched. It could be, just a spirit trying to get your attention. It could be an angry spirit, could be.
Well,
Um,
I've told it before. I had something I caught a shadow out of my eye at Ashmore Estates, and honestly, I believe that thing entered me because within like 3 months, I had a complete disc missing in my neck.
hmm.
Coincidence or not, I don't know. All I know is it hurt like a son of a buck, and it didn't hurt until that night. So I do believe that they have the possibility to get your attention like that. So
I agree, 100%, man.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you too. I don't think anytime everything's always demonic. I think a lot of people watch too much television and jump the gun. I do
And
think,
YouTube.
yeah, right. I do think it's over jealous or zealous, and yeah, I do think that some spirit or ghosts do have attitudes and maybe do get upset sometimes, or maybe they just like to push the boundary. Who knows? It's not like I have a meter that can pick up attitudes. So,
Yeah, yeah,
right. So,
I just wonder if maybe you're in a room and maybe there's a couple spirits there and the one is unable to make communication in any other way other than that, pulling your hair or scratching or something physical. Maybe they're not allowed to, or maybe they
yeah,
can't figure out the EVP or how to speak or anything like that. Just curious. You know,
yeah,
could
yeah,
or is it, it's like, really? This guy is going to ask me to perform. I'm going to give him a show. I'm going to rock his boat.
yeah,
I don't know. It's not like I can, talk to him, but who knows?
yeah.
So,
This is the fourth team here this week. I'm trying to sleep.
right.
yeah. I mean, like I said, the most that's ever really happened to me is I've had my shirt tugged a couple times, and like I said, I got touched on my right bicep, or my right bicep, or my tricep,
Yeah.
um, at the Blackford jail. That's the first time that's the first time I've ever had an physical interaction. Um, but I've never been scratched before. No, never have. No.
So what are your thoughts? Change the subject a little bit here because Grizzly Chris is his name, and then he's a Bigfoot guy. What are your thoughts on cryptids?
Oh, I mean, I think there's too many. There's too many stories, too many accounts. I mean, I think many of them are, especially the Bigfoot. I think it's a very, very good possibility that it exists. I think there's way too many accounts out there, way too many experiences from people to like just to completely write it off. And I think people need to look at that and say, they need to at least take an account that of all the experiences that are happening, of hundreds and thousands and thousands of experiences. I think Bigfoot is a legit possibility. Being from I'm from West Virginia originally, so the Mothman is kind of a you know one of those ones that it's kind of near and dear to my heart. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of them are just folklore, but I think a lot of them we should really pay attention and you know um, take some credibility. At least with all try to lend some credibility to many about all the experiences these people are having, especially with Bigfoot. Um, I think we should at least take that into account and before writing it off. Way too many experiences of Bigfoot.
Yeah. A lot of people have seen it, and it's almost there's too many that you can deny it.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah, I
what do you
agree.
think, Chris?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people that are in the paranormal field that are on investigations are coming across this creature while on investigations, that are encountering something
Yep.
while investigating. They're like, what is this? Throwing things or making these calls or sounds or throwing these sticks or rocks at us. So, yeah, it's very interesting. So, I don't know. Uh, does it exist? Yeah, I've seen it. I've got maybe pictures of it. I don't know. We interview people that go out and investigate them. So, yeah, but it's interesting that see people in the paranormal investigation realm now investigating these things while they're ghost hunting. It's fascinating. So,
Yeah,
Gene
yeah. They're
Hudson
I
is asking, have any of you guys heard of a spirit talking through Alexa or Siri or anything like that? I never heard that. Have you all?
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
I because I did a little experiment with walkie talkies. I've heard something come through my walkie. I mean, granted, walkie talkies are you can mix a channel and catch stuff like that. But as far as Siri and stuff like that, I've never used it during an investigation or at home or anything for. But I've had some interesting stuff come through walkie talkies, which I can't. Channels get mixed up all the time and stuff, so I can't really
Right.
say that's paranormal or anything. But
Yeah,
That's
that's a
funny.
good question.
it's a good
Well, that's
question.
a good question. I had to clear out my notifications. I had to mute my mic. My shipment arrived. So Anthony Lewis, yep, Bigfoot is the reason why we have mesh suits for hunters. Yeah, the ghillie suits. That's funny. So, but no, I mean it's interesting because we have people at the Conjuring House that's encountering Bigfoot. We have that one people up in New York. I
Yep.
can't remember the location that was investigating that one house that was camping out on the property too.
Yep.
That was encountering Bigfoot. They didn't know what the hell was messing with them, and they're like, "What the hell was this?" I can't remember that guy's name.
Then you had
Tracy.
She Squatchers were on last week. They were
Yeah.
talking about it. Same thing. Out there, people go out there camping or they're investigating cemeteries out there in the middle of nowhere and stuff. And we're truly believing that they're getting some type of Bigfoot evidence out there. So that's cool.
I did have a weird experience. I went to a cemetery in a town called Goshen, Indiana, southeast of Elkhart, a place called Jackson Cemetery, and we were back in near the woods, and it was pitch black. I couldn't see anything. It was black. It was real dark back there, and we heard this weird grunting noise. It almost sounded like a lion. You know how right before a lion roars or like a tiger, it's like that. I heard that. And I'm like,
Sounds
Sean,
Bigfoot.
what the was that? And he said, I don't know, man, but if it's a big cat, man, I'm like a panther or a cougar or something like that, man, we better get the hell out of here, man. But it never we didn't see anything or hear anything. We didn't hear anything after that or see anything or get anything thrown at us or any kind of wood knocks or anything like that. But it literally sounded like a damn lion back there, dude. It startled me. I was like, man, dude, if this thing can like jump out and like get us, we'd never know what hit us. It's like pitch black. So that was kind of weird. Can't say it was Bigfoot or anything, but it was definitely
Yeah, that's
it was definitely
interesting.
yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah, I just wish I would have had it on audio.
You know what? It's always, everybody always says, why don't you ever have it on audio or video, right? And it's never that perfect time where you always have that perfect moment where you have your equipment ready to capture it, right?
Yeah.
And then when you do, I found out, malfunctions, or you think you're recording and you're not, or
Yeah.
you are recording and it doesn't record. And then when you go back, it's not there. I mean, it's just hard to explain. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's just strange.
It is strange.
Really. Tracy, were you playing Abracadabra? Magic? You just disappeared.
Yeah, my dog was at the door wanting out.
Oh, I looked up. I'm like, what the hell? You just like,
Yeah,
poof.
had to let her out. I don't want no accident in her. She's just getting old. So, hey, so I see. So your next hunt, you got something up here posted about April 20th, going to the old Williams County Jail.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do that place?
Well, my next investigation is actually the 7th of January. It's that's my next one. That's the old Blackford County Jail and Hartford City, Indiana. I've been there once before. Back in the last time was 2018, I think it was, and it was a pretty active night actually. And I don't know why I've never booked it again. It's just one of those things where I just never did. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So I booked it for January 7th. Solo. I'll be by myself that night. Caught a lot of interesting EVPs in the basement down in what they call the dungeon. It looks like a dungeon down there. It's like you got your main basement, then it branches off into this little door, little opening, and it's like a horseshoe shaped U shape, and then right in the middle it has a like a little corridor that goes right to a dead end. And I've caught some interesting, and that place is an EVP, like, a place that it's really quiet down there, and it's limestone walls, so it's really insulated, and so it's really quiet down there, so it's a really good place to catch EVPs. I've caught kind of some pretty interesting EVPs down there. I got told I was going to suffer down there once, and said my name,
Wow.
and it meant said my name right after that. Got jailhouse whistles in the cell block and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
um, stuff like that. But
Oh, I challenged them before and made them. Well, I didn't make them, but I enticed them and said, "Say my name before." Now that's brave going by yourself. So yeah,
yeah,
that's very brave.
I
I don't
tack
know if I could do it.
I tackled the Monroe House by myself for the first time back in uh, about a month or two ago, 2 months ago. And to be honest with you, it was the most quietest night I've ever had. I've been there 8, 9 times, and that's probably the quietest night that I've ever had there before, which was kind of strange. And it's interesting because a lot of people were saying the same thing, that they've been there recently, and it's been really super quiet. So I don't know if it's just they were taking a break for the holidays, or what they were doing, but I caught a few pretty interesting EVPs that night. But as um, on Moreau House standards, it was very quiet. Um, but yeah, so everybody's like, "You're crazy if I'm going there by yourself, man." I would never go in there by myself. I It doesn't bother me. I mean, it was like, yeah, it was a cool experience. I want it's an interesting experience, just to, like, have the house to yourself for 16 hours or whatever. Um, but yeah, then Tracy was saying, he saw that I'm going to the old Williams County Jail. Yeah, that's I booked out because my buddy Austin Maynard from out in Ohio. He's been trying to get me to come to more of his locations. He's like, "Man, come on, man, come to check my locations out, man. You keep going to all these other locations and skipping." I'm like, "All right, I'll go ahead and book it." I said, "But now I'm the only one, I'm the only one that's you know on my own, so it's a little bit harder for me to book these more expensive places." So, and Austin's
Oh yeah.
Austin's locations are really affordable and stuff like that. I'm not gonna be able to go to Waverly Hills. I'm not gonna be able to go
Yeah.
to anymore. I can't go to places like Trans Allegheny anymore. 'Cause it's just too expensive. So
Especially by yourself.
by myself, yeah. So I'm trying to, like, find some locations that are really affordable, like the Monroe House. They're very affordable, especially for how haunted the place is. The
Yeah.
old Kosciuszko County Jail, very affordable. The old Lake County Jail out in Crown Point, very affordable. Um, and different places like that. You
So
know,
this old Williams County jail, though, I mean, has there been activity there that you know of?
I mean, I've heard of people. This be my first
Yeah.
time there. But I've heard of um, very good EVP. Very good interaction when you're playing cards with them. And
Oh,
having bringing alcohol and nudie cards.
yeah.
Cards with naked women on. So I mean, I always bring cards and alcohol and cigarettes to every jail I go to. So I've
Well,
always got really really good interaction with
Ladies and gentlemen, we call that trigger object. Just let you know.
yeah. So it's different, different things that I bring to certain locations that always get really good results. And cigarettes, alcohol,
Mm.
um, and cards have always been really good at jails. And then also I take roses to the old Kosciuszko County Jail because the resident spirit Annie Chaplin loves roses, and she always gets them and comes out and talks to me. And um, but
have you
yeah.
uh, have you tried putting a cat ball in a shot glass or a beer mug or anything at those places?
No, no, I never tried that. We we
I
we've
tried
used
that
we've
at
used cat balls in the past, yeah, but not in a shot.
I tried it at a place where there was a known alcohol guy that drank all the time and stuff, and then we got a little bit of the ball going off on its own every once in a while. That was pretty cool. That's a good
Yeah,
church.
Yeah, we poured a couple. Like we were at the jail one time, the old Kosciuszko County Jail in Warsaw, and we were upstairs running a spirit box session. And actually, we were on Facebook Live at the time too. So and Sean was actually holding the phone up, and I'm sitting. I said, "All right, guys." I had a little pint, half pint of Jack Daniels. I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna go ahead and salute you. I've got you." And I poured a shot and put it on the jail bar, and I put a cigarette right there, lit the cigarette,
Hmm.
which I don't know. I mean, I know Marianne, the one that does the invest. I mean, she probably wouldn't let anybody just light up a cigarette in the place, but I did eat it. So I could get away with it. But anyway, I put the shot of whiskey up there, and I said, "All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take a shot. This is for you, man. Your shot's right there." And I don't drink during investigation, so I had the cap on, and
Yeah.
I went to go tip it and put it to my lips, and I looked at the camera. I said, "It's closed. It's not open." And as soon as I put it up to my lips, a voice came across the spirit box and says, "It's sealed up."
Wow.
And I said, "Oh wow, you got me." I because a lot of time with spirit boxes, you got to kind of go back and listen to it again to see what they say. This was clear. I mean, we knew right off the bat what it said. It said it's sealed up. It's sealed. And so he saw. Well, I mean, the only people that knew what was going on were people on Facebook Live and the people that were in the jail. And so that was a pretty interesting experience. I mean, knowing that it was sealed up, the bottle was not open. So he called me out on it. So.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. So I've had a lot of
Wow.
pretty interesting experiences with the Spirit Box, but uh, it's a controversial piece of equipment. But I've had a lot of very cool stuff happen. Interactions with that. So it's one of my go-to devices.
There's a lot of apps out there now too that I was using the Echo Vox VOX
Hmm.
for a little bit there. That seemed to be pretty cool. Uh, and but then I kind of went back to the Spirit Box for a little bit too. So
Yeah,
you really got to put them right next to each other and see which one you believe. Because some of those apps are just
yeah,
set up to spit words out. Run even though they're running frequencies. So
yeah. They say in order to really make the Spirit Box credible, you need to have a radio tuned to every station throughout the whole frequency of the area you're in. Every like every how many 30 radios hooked up with every station playing at one time while you're
mm,
running the spirit box, just to make sure that you're not getting a voice that comes across that's radio. I mean, I completely understand what they're saying, but it's just like when you have your first and last name called in a cemetery on a spirit box. I mean, there's
yeah,
the odds of that name being your name, first and last name being called, and it just so happened that it fell right on that certain frequency, and hearing full sentences,
I
the
agree.
odds of it are very slim. I mean, very very slim. So while you can't disprove that, there's that chance that for some reason there was somebody saying my first and last name by chance
Yep.
on that at that very same time that it came through, but the
Mm,
odds of it are, I don't know. I just think people are looking. I mean, I understand people want to debunk things. There's the possibility that it could happen, but I look more of probability to or odds. It's just that is too. The odds are slim that could happen. I mean, so I kind of write that off as an experience.
So
So
Crystal was asking, would using a spirit box invite things to talk to you? Yes. Using any type of devices would invite anything to talk to you, good or bad. It is a Pandora's box. So, yes, that is a good question. So, yes, a
yep.
lot of people don't know that, but that is a good question.
A lot of people claim that Spirit Box is like a modern version. Like the Ouija boards are like an archaic version of the modern Spirit Boxes. You're using some of those like like Jay Prather's device, the Direct Link. You touch it's using your body as the antenna, so it's using your energy. And I think a lot of people, it's just obviously it's just a theory or just an opinion and an idea, but I think a lot of people, the more you use a piece of equipment, the more it like that the more it gets used to you, and the
yep.
more effective it becomes because it like adapts to your energy, you know while
I
I
agree.
can't prove that, it's a cool theory to think about because I know I have a spirit box that I can use that I use a certain spirit box all the time, and I could go off and use this other spirit box that my buddy had, and I wouldn't get anything off of it. And it's just like, I mean, it's a cool thing to think about, you know.
Oh yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Well, Philip, how does people get a hold of you and follow you and keep up with you?
Just Phil Gibson, you know, Philip Gibson on social media. I mean, I'm only on Facebook. I'm not on like Twitter or anything like that. I'm not on TikTok or YouTube. I'm just pretty much, I do my stuff on Facebook pretty much. You can just catch me on there, Philip Gibson. You'll see the paranormal conversationalist beside my name, and yeah, you can keep up with with me there. I post a lot of audio and a lot of my EVPs and stuff like that. I share them with a lot of people. I want people to I want people to share in my experiences. I enjoy people sharing in the experiences. Because a lot of people don't get a chance to do this on their own, and they some people live vicariously through other people, and I just want to share what I experience with everybody. It excites me to share that with others.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so yeah, you can find me on Philip Gibson on Facebook, and like I said, I post a lot of paranormal stuff. Post a lot of just random stuff too. But that's where you can find me at. That's the best place to find me at. So
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget tonight at 9:00, another show coming up. Local news. I couldn't sleep last night, and we're going to talk about the reason why. Something I uncovered at 3 or 4 in the morning. So we're going to talk about that. But Philip, once again, thank you for coming on, and I look forward to keeping up with you. And from
that
coast
was
to coast and around the world, everybody, have a good night. We'll see you at 9. Take care, everybody.
See y'all later.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Philip.
Thank you.